right, let's get this sorted. Oops, might have to go like this. All right, let's make sure our audio is working. See how that sounds. Check, 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 check. See how that sounds. Check, 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 check. All right, it looks like it's working. So what's the plan for today? Plan is to hit these new irons some, do a bunch of drills, and work on, number one, work on getting loose. Work on some driver stuff. I'm gonna hit some drivers and try to get ready for this tournament round we have coming up. Gonna take some time to get loose today. Pretty windy out here today, guys. I think we've got a storm rolling in later today, so hopefully the sound quality is still okay. Love having these bands for stretching and warming up. Thank you guys for supporting me on the stream we did yesterday. It was a little, unorthodox. We did some club reshafting, chatted about a whole bunch of stuff. Hey, Noonan's here. What's up, Noonan? Thanks for being here, my dude. Just make some room, get this stuff out of the way. Yeah, I'm telling you, this wind today, this is unusual. Get our hitting area ready to go. You know what, I did it again, and I forgot to post the link on Instagram over to here, but one of these days I'll remember. All right. So I'm not actually going to start hitting the 5-iron, but it is really nice to have these back in the bag, looking down at a blade again. Sounds like Sean O'Malley. That's funny. People either say Tommy Fleetwood or Sugar Sean. I get that all the time. I think it's also the tattoos. I think the tattoos play a part, at least with the Sugar Sean comparison. Tommy Fleetwood, maybe a combination of the long hair and the slightly compact, abbreviated golf swing. But he hits it really solid, guys. So there's, worse people you could be compared to than Tommy Fleetwood, that's for sure. Oh, a superstar is here. You're a superstar. Look at you. Oh, you just said I have to kiss. Hi. You say hi to the people? Say hi to the people on the internet. She says, hi, people. Oh, you gonna help Dad practice? I made a post recently, and there was a whole bunch of text on the screen. It was just kind of like a reintroducing myself. Here's a bunch of like little facts about me, and in one of them I wrote, I'm married and we have 2 canine children, which I thought was pretty benign. And somebody was like, I'm sorry, you have dogs, not canine children. I was like, you're just wrong. We're just not going to agree. I think you're wrong, because these are my babies. Yeah, guys, check out these new green and yellow ferrules we got on here. These are pretty cool. Got our blades back in the bag. Fleetwood is a ball striker, exactly right, Noonan. He hits the ball square 10 out of 10 times, it seems like, doesn't he? All right, I'm going to grab a pitching wedge and start warming up. This is the Vokey 46 degree that we went back to. Same C-taper shaft as we had in the pitching wedge before, but went back to this SM8 46 degree pitching wedge. The Mad Matter said that's gay. I don't know what that is, but tell me more. Oh, tell you what, guys, when you've been kind of bedridden and sick and then trying to get the body to loosen up, I feel like it's going to take a few days to really start getting some, flexibility back and keep everything moving. Miner's here. What's up, Miner? Goodness gracious says, I just got an AI Smoke Max 9 degree. Very cool. That's an exciting addition to your golf bag. Free Samples is here. What's up, Free Samples? Free Samples has been here since very early on in our YouTube streaming journey. It is pretty cool, almost getting to know these people via the internet, from just hanging out on live streams and chatting. That's why, I referenced that post where I put a bunch of text on the screen. And live streaming is by far my favorite form of creating content. I think there's something about having to be on and entertaining, and maybe it's because I'm not particularly skilled at editing videos just yet. So I feel like you can kind of hide some stuff if you're good at editing, whereas with this you just have to be yourself and find a way to either do something cool or say something entertaining, or find a way to engage with people. Just going at about 50%. These little half swings, trying to get loosened up, feel the ball on the club. Whoa, get that out of there. Man, I'm a huge fan of how this reshaft build came out. You never know when you just take a leap of faith and order some ferrules. Black is obviously just the typical consistent option, but oh, Mad Matter. It's a good try. Got that 50-yard swing. Yeah, just trying to get loosened up. Been swinging for about 3 minutes, so. Oh. Two guys playing golf is here. Hey, guys. Siobhan's here. Tell us about their driver. Very cool. Welcome to the stream, guys. Thanks for being here. Oh. People did not like my shirt yesterday, so I thought I'm going to wear it again today. John said, thanks for your kind words about my dad earlier. It's really made my day. You're very welcome. You know, I can only imagine how difficult that has been. And, you know, grief and difficult things are experiences that we're all going to have in our lives. And, you know, knowing that doesn't make it easier to go through those moments. But just know that, you know, there's people who care about you no matter where you are in the world or in your life. And, you know, even if it's somebody like me who you can come out and hang out here and, you know, find a place to hang out, a safe space, to just be like, man, I've been having a tough time. Because I'll come on here sometimes and say that, just be like, guys, it's not been going well. You know, with my mental health or my physical health or otherwise. And again, these are things that people experience. We should talk about them. We should openly discuss them. You know, it's okay to struggle. Because everyone does it, right? You've never met somebody in your life that hasn't had a down moment or a time when they weren't at their best. Oh, still struggling to get loose. I'll tell you guys that. But we have plenty of time, which is great. You have a nice swing. Thanks very much. Joseph doesn't like the shirt. That's okay, Joseph. You don't have to stay and hang out. Hey, Toes here. What's up, gangster? What does your shirt mean? It means I think that immigrants should be treated like human beings, is what that means. And that they make our country and our culture and our society better. I was not prepared for this degree of wind. Is this where I'm trying to get to with the posture? Is your irons blades? Yes, we just put the blades back in the bag after they were on the shelf for a while. So like this is the 6 iron. These are the 2011 TaylorMade MB irons. So like there's a 6 iron. Okay, let's go show you. Here's the 8 iron. Right. You should leave America. Well, I'm not doing that, but thanks for coming. If anybody wants to be a mod and, you know, just keep an eye out for the bigots. Those are sick. Thanks very much, FC. How are you doing, FC? How can even natives oppose immigrants? Technically, white population USA are descendants of immigrants. Well said, SD. My ancestors are immigrants. They were forced to come here, you know, when Ireland was being occupied and starved by the British. And they were treated horribly when they came here. My grandfather, you know, told me in his own life, he would go into town looking for work. And there would be signs on the windows that said, NINA, no Irish need apply, right? So, you know, my grandfather died this year, right? That's not that long ago. You know, so for us to think that, you know, that the 2 generations after people who were immigrants coming here could turn around and you know, be so anti-immigrant, it's really hard for me to understand. Because, you know, unless you're a native person, everybody's ancestors are from somewhere else, right? If you're a white person, you're not from America. So it's very hard for me to understand. And if people are like, hey, you should stick to golf or not talk about this stuff, I'm just not going to do that, guys. These are things that are important to me, that I care about. I think it's cool to care about other people. It's pretty simple. You know, there are people who have gone through horrific things and try to come here. And it's honestly, it's pretty embarrassing that that's how they're treated now. When I was growing up, we were proud of the fact that America was a melting pot, that it was a land of opportunity for people. It's really hard to understand. I'll mod for you if you can cure my lefty slice. What do you say? How do I learn to properly swing a club? Lots of practice. But we can do some drills if you want. FC says, today I got the MB 716 blade irons. They feel so good, but I just can't hit the 3-iron. Any tips? Well, practice a lot, right? Because there's not even a lot of pros out there who are still using a blade 3-iron. I got you, Bubba Booey. So the lefty slice is going to be the same as any other slice. Right? You just got to get the club face more closed. So if you're slicing it and you're a lefty, that club face is open, right? So pointed this way and cutting across the ball, right? So you got to get that club face pointed more square or even closed if you wanted to try to hit draws, right? But instead of just saying, okay, well, you told me to close the club face. How do I do that? That's not very helpful. Give yourself like what I call a task orientation. So what I would have you do if we were on the driving range is I'd say, okay, tee up your ball like to center field or, right down the middle of the fairway, right? And then what you're going to do is force yourself, let your brain take over and your body, with this task orientation and say, we're going to hit it down the right field foul line for a baseball analogy, or, hit it into the right trees and just force yourself, right, to get that club face closed and hit the ball over there. Imagine like the whole, anything, on the slice side of the fairway is the lava, right? You can't hit it there. You have to hit it. You can hit it as far over there as you want, right? You can hit a massive hook, but you just have to learn and teach yourself to control the club face, right? It's going to feel very different than what you've been doing. And that's okay. You need to, key in on those things. Say, okay, my body's telling me to do this with my, my hips or my arms, my hands, right? But because what I want you to do is start learning the skill. Build the skill of controlling the club face and the path into the ball, right? So learn. You're going to start hitting big slices and big hooks, but learn how to shape the ball both ways. And then once you start building the skill of controlling your club face and the path, right? That's how you learn how to hit shots, and it becomes second nature, right? If you gave me any club in the bag and said hit a draw or hit a fade on command, I could do that, right? Because I know within the confines of what it feels like for me, how to create that condition at impact. So hopefully that helps, Bubby. That's my answer to the slice question that comes up pretty regularly. But I do have some drills we could look at if you're if that's unsuccessful. All right, it's starting to feel a little bit looser now. The warm temperatures certainly help with that. Juntos Somos Fuertes was a terrible person. I don't know if that's a person. It means together we're strong in Spanish. Best golfer ever, Appleby. Interesting selection there. But I also, I watched Stuart Appleby play in a lot of big tournaments. Let me know when you're good enough for PGA yourself. I wish. Maybe someday. Maybe in my next lifetime. I feel like my slice might be due to my hands getting to the ball before my club head. That could be, right? But if the face is open, right, that's what's going to tell you, right? There could be a variety of positional or technical reasons why that club face is open at impact, right? Especially if the hands are here and you're late on it, right? The face might not be, could be open. But the fact that the ball is slicing is telling us that face is too open. So I would tell you, again, give yourself that task orientation. And it doesn't have to be at full speed, guys, right? You can just learn how to hit some hooks with a little, chippy 8-iron swing, right? But you got to learn how to deliver, a square club face or a closed club face. Get that ball going the other way. And this is the opposite, right? Same idea if you struggle with a hook. If your club face is overly closed into impact, right? Well, you got to learn how to open it somehow, right? And get the ball going the other way. So it's all about, teaching yourself that skill. How can I get that club face pointed where it needs to be for that ball to fly towards my target? And like you guys have heard me say, every single stream we've been, answering these questions. You can slow it down. You don't have to do it at full speed, right? So you can just practice some little chippy shots, getting to see that ball fly towards your target with a more square club face. And just teach yourself over and over and over again, how do I get that club face pointed where it needs to be at impact? We know, right, just look at the PGA Tour. You can swing it like Jim Furyk, like up here, Matt Wolff, and then underneath, you can swing it like Jon Rahm, inside and steep and short, right? The golf ball doesn't care what your swing looks like. It cares about impact. What is the face doing? Where's the club pointed at impact? And watch the Walker Cup this weekend, guys. Watch the Ryder Cup. All their swings you're going to see a variety of shapes and tempos, right? But the one thing that all those guys have in common is they hit the ball squarely, very solidly. Oh, I can't tell you how good it feels to be back to hitting just a pure blade. It just really does feel different off the face than what I had before. What else is going on, guys? Who else is in here? FC, I have an 8-iron in my hand currently. Putt King is here. Keep stacking. David's here. What's up, guys? Closing the club face also de-lofts the club. That is true. It's like darts. Next shot never guaranteed. No matter what training, it's a lazy sport. Could be. Mahesh said hi. Rider Boy said good shot. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. We're going to keep working on some striking, getting loose, seeing how the body feels today. And then now it's probably a good time. We can launch into some drills. So I'll grab, there's 5 golf balls and then another 5. Feeling pretty loose. So with these 5, we're going to do half swings. Really focus on posture and strike. So trying to hit all of these right out of the center of the club face. Okay, that was pretty solid. Maybe a half a groove low, if I were being critical. That was nice. Been noticing really just a lot of this kind of hunching in my posture. So trying to, engage the core more, keep this nice and tall, out of the way. Nice. That was hit well. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, it's definitely better. Nice. Nice, that was the best one. Save the best for last. Man, tell you what, guys, there's definitely some sort of storm coming through eventually, because this wind is strong today. All right, so next set of 5 balls, we're going to drop the right foot back. This is really going to help, maintain, again, this space. Learn what it feels like not to early extend, right? Get the hips going this way. Off topic, but I like your tattoos. Thanks very much, Rider Boy. Finance department is here too. Can you hit one full swing? Yeah, I can hit one full swing. Do you want like a normal golf course swing, like an 85% one, or like a full Like, let's try and hit this 8-iron as far as we can. Let's do a hard one, like a 97%, because I don't want to hurt myself. That was hit pretty good. Good test for the reshafting job I did. See how my handiwork holds up. So far, so good. I have reshafted a number of iron sets, guys, so if you're like, man, first time, don't worry, I had done it before. A 9-iron is best to welly it. Played 85 today. 85 is good. Tyler says, for the boys, I love that swing. It's just so pure. Is that a gazebo with golf in it inside? Yes, exactly right. We've got this shelter tent canopy situation. So we're covered from the sun, my mortal enemy. As you can see, I've invested quite a lot in collecting art on my skin, so the sun is not my friend. All right, guys, so now we're gonna, again, this drill is to really help us maintain our posture, not get these hips going up and out of the way. All right, we're just gonna drop that right foot back, little half swing. Boom. Just trying to really key in on that posture, maintain, you know, especially in the downswing. Nice. So like for me, I'm trying to notice, like I feel this left hip kind of pulling a bit more, right? Really trying to help me maintain that posture. So again, just looking for these little things to key in on. Go even further back here. Nice. It might sound silly to you guys, but another thing I've been keying in on is just making sure I keep my eye on the golf ball all the way through impact. Whoa, 220 people in the stream. Shout out to you guys. Hit that like button. Boom. So there's another 5 there. We'll run through it one more time. 5 with the half swing, 5 with the foot back. If I missed your question, guys, just drop it in the chat again. Trying to do a little more hitting and a little bit less blabbering. Maine, this is a golf channel. How do you grip your club? How do you grip your club? In your fingers, right? Don't get it in your palms. I'll donate if you do full swing. All right, let's do it. We'll do a full swing, nice and hard. Also, guys, yeah, that's a good shout. Because of you guys, we got the channel monetized not too long ago. So if you're like, hey, I really want to, you know, support John, or he gave me a good tip, you can drop those super chats in the chat. All right, here we go. Full swing, 8-iron. This would be like we're trying to hit it, you know, 170, really hard one. That was hit good. Let's do one more just for good measure in case you missed it. Yeah. Love it. All right, so we'll go 5 golf balls for this drill. Also, it's very nice of you guys to donate to me, but there are lots of other, you know, you can give money to the Red Cross, you can give money to MedPal, right, which is, oh, I did it out of order. All right, so this is just gonna be normal setup, working on posture. Half swing. Oh, that was not hit well. I think we took our eye off it. Much better. Maybe a golf channel. Oh, did I miss your question? First time spotting your channel. What's your handicap? Usually around 0. This year it's been more like 2. I've been not playing much golf. As a beginner, should I worry about changing the grips on my clubs? Also love the shirt. Thanks very much. It's been about 50-50, I'll say. You know, we've had lots of obnoxious people, but I did, you know, I'm sort of asking for it with the shirt, I suppose. Just makes it easy to know who to block. You don't need to change your grips unless they're really in bad shape, like, you know, breaking or cracked. If you're not playing a ton of golf or you're still new to it, you can make a lot of progress. Just grab some, you know, warm soapy water and a bucket and really scrub down the grips. That can give you, you know, another bunch of life out of them. Nice to see some positivity amongst the chaos. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, right? Is just, you know, talk about these things, bring some positivity, you know, show support for things that seem important to talk about. Whether that's, you know, a genocide or, you know, all this craziness domestically. You know, that's the whole point of, you know, when I talk about things like my sobriety or the mental health issues that I've had, you know, depression and the value of going to therapy, or, you know, the value, the impact that sobriety's had for me. You know, these aren't like easy things to talk about, right? But they are things that people experience, and they shouldn't be stigmatized, right? We should be able to just openly talk about them. You should be able to ask your friends, hey, how's your mental health, right? The same way if they had a broken arm, you might ask them how they're doing. You can ask your friends, how's your mental health, right? That's a pretty easy way to just start, you know, destigmatizing some of these things. But if we don't talk about them, if you don't have, you know, some courage to say like, yeah, hand up, that's, you know, I've been an alcoholic. I've been depressed. I've been suicidal. These are things that people experience. And if we don't talk about them, then they'll never change. This is an 8-iron, guys. These are TaylorMade MB irons. We just got these reshafted last night, going back in the bag. Hey, Squirrel Sniper's here. Welcome in. We needed you earlier, Squirrel Sniper, when we had some bigots we were fending off, but got through that. Now we've got a really good positive crowd going. Well over 200 viewers in the stream, guys. Give yourselves a like. Double tap that screen for yourselves. Boom. That's it, guys. You're just drilling that impact position over and over again. Very excited to have these blades back in the bag. Boom. It's 4 out of 5 success, I would say. That first one was not particularly good. All right, so now same thing, posture. Foot goes back. Keep the hips nice and back. Boom. Yes, that was it right there. All right, posture. Right foot goes back. But yeah, aloha, you know, to finish my thought, I am trying to make this, you know, like, obviously those things are difficult to talk about, but the vibe is going to be positive, right? How can, you know, what are the tangible things you can do? You know, I'm not going to claim to have all the answers, right? But I have done some of these things, right? I lost a whole bunch of weight. I quit drinking. You know, I went to therapy, right? I've become a different person. I've changed my identity to some extent, right? I'm just not a person who drinks. And, you know, having some experience, like, isn't that the point of wisdom, is to be able to share or tell people about those things so that their experience might not be as hard, right? I've already done it. It was hard for me. It was really hard. But if I can help somebody else have their experience be slightly less hard, well, then that's worth it. That's worth, you know, me talking about it. You said, leave your liberal thoughts out of golf. I'm just not going to do that, guys. Also, it's not... please don't call me a liberal. I take offense to that. You know, having empathy for people and thinking that it's okay to care about the lived experience of other human beings who are different from you is not liberal. You know, I might call myself progressive politically, but like culturally, if you think it's cool to talk shit about those people or to be racist or, you know, support these things, it's just not cool. I don't know what else to tell you. It's fucking lame. So, I'm not here to change your mind, but you're not going to change my mind that it's very uncool to, you know, be hateful or not support these people. Can you clarify your shirt, legal or illegal? Well, my opinion on that, and to clarify for you, is I simply do not care about an imaginary line on the ground. I made a post about this already. We talked about it yesterday. My ancestors aren't from here. And unless you're a native person, unless you're indigenous, your family's not from here either. So, I'm pro-immigration. And I don't think history is going to look kindly at this period of time and the people who are so aggressively, you know, expressing their bigotry. Hey, Odd Harvey. Really, I have just an amazing piece of advice for you, and that is you can just scroll on by and go about your day. So this is still 8-iron, guys. We got the new blades. What are these balls called? Are they heavy? Nope, these are just regular golf balls, guys. Some bunch of balls from the shag bag. This is an old Pro V1, Bridgestone, mostly Titleist, right? These are a bunch of my old, you know, golf balls that were maybe new once, but got scuffed up or had just been, you know, past their usable life on the golf course. They go in the shag bag. I've got a whole bucket. Oh. Let's see. Got into golf about 3 weeks ago and am addicted. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the most addicting endeavors I think that you will find. I think about it, you know, probably on an hourly basis, like my game, my swing. I wish they could have pro-immigration without the handouts. I think that just, you know, maybe you need to do a little more reading or educate yourself about, you know, the realities of how assistance works and what services people are and aren't allowed to use and the taxes they pay and otherwise. You might be surprised. Matthew Desmond has a really good book. A couple good books. If you want to check him out, you can learn some stuff. They are not heavy. Are these full swings? They not a minute ago, but they're getting fuller. Wear mark is pure, man. Oh, thanks. Yeah, these have, again, I've had these for a long time, and I just, you know, took them out of the bag for a while. Time to Medicate doesn't like the shirt either. Well, tell me why, Time to Medicate. And unless you're an indigenous person, don't you dare tell me that it's because you're better than those people because you're from America. Because guess what? You're just not. Just like I'm not either. And my ancestors were persecuted in Ireland, starved, had to come here, right? Experienced awful discrimination and racism. And we look back at that with pride, right? Look at what they endured. They, they came all the way across the ocean, right? It's not different. It's just not different. Starting to feel the swing come back a little bit, guys. Let's grab like a 5 or 6 iron and start hitting some longer ones. Just kind of work our way through the bag, hitting some shots. If you're born here, you're from America. Yeah, well, yeah, I agree with that. How often do you clean your clubs? So why don't we just let the whole world immigrate here and not track it? What could go wrong? Well, I mean, you're just like saying nonsensical things. I mean, if you want to actually make like a good point, yeah, I think we should vet people who want to come here, but I don't think we should make it nearly as difficult as it is. Trust me, if you're telling me that your options are to walk across the desert and maybe die, or go back to where you're from, and you choose the walk across the desert option, that we're supposed to villainize these people, you know, there's no religion or good reason other than racism to want to exclude these people. Yeah, of course, you you do the things that already exist, right? You vet people, you make sure that they're not criminals, but this idea that we have to go door to door and round people up is it's insanity. I mean, that's maybe slightly high on the face, but oh. John, can I expect to improve even though I'm using foam balls in my sim space? Yeah, definitely, right? I mean, that skill, what you're trying to teach yourself of, consistently getting that club face onto the ball, and delivering it at a square, a square face to hit the ball straight, that skill will definitely translate, whether you're hitting a foam ball or not. Big difference between legal and illegal immigration. I just don't agree with you. I just don't care. I could argue that your ancestors came here illegally when they just showed up and took the land from the indigenous people who were here. So you're not going to convince me that this imaginary line on a map is a good enough reason to torture people and rip them away from their families. What about the rights of those people's citizen children to not have their parents torn away from them? What about their rights? That was hit really good. All right, I gotta do some drills here because otherwise I'm just gonna get unfocused while I continue blabbering about this stuff. We have a real problem with our free speech here in England. Yeah, it seems that way. It looks pretty scary from what I can see. Looks like they're arresting old people for protesting a genocide. One of my favorite drills here, guys, especially for the ball striking. Grab this band, tuck it under your arms. You're going to make sure that that band or towel doesn't drop when you make the swing. Really good way to feel that connection. I'd rather talk golf. Yeah, me too. Hey, Nick Yates is here. Wonky said thanks. Sycamore, how does the clubs feel? Hey, Sycamore, welcome back. They feel great. I think they came out really nice. I'm thrilled with how they look behind the ball. It's been nice to hit some blades again. Yeah, these are, oops, did I put it away? This is probably my favorite club, the 8-iron. I hit this one a whole bunch. How do you move in delivery? I get very extended, can't seem to fix it. So Sycamore was asking, we did these live on the stream last night, put these new ferrules on here. Hey, Gavin's here. What's up, Gavin? Golf heals the spirit. My first swingers channel. Wow, that's funny. So if you're extending a bunch, I was just doing this drill a minute ago, right? What I would maybe say is, number one, understand that a lot of early extension is caused by rushing the downswing, right? So if you get to the top and you just throw the club and really release it from the top, well, your body's going to have to, the club's going to go out. So to get it back to the ball, you have to extend and tilt, right? Otherwise, the club's like going to miss the ball. So for me, what really helped understanding was this club really needs to stop almost fully to start the hands dropping down, and then you release it from about, halfway down, right? But I had to do a whole bunch of these freezer drills where you take it to the top and wait and then swing to not rush. I did a very high amount of lead arm only swings. Right? Because you'll notice it's very hard to early extend without that additional pressure from the right arm on the club. So that can really help with the feel. And then also, like I was doing this drill a minute ago, set up like you're going to hit a normal shot. Right? I've got a 6-iron here. And then drop this right foot back about a foot, right? 1 foot's worth. And this is going to, again, make it hard for this right hip to go forward. And you'll notice just how much more room you're forced to maintain, and just try to, key in on that feel, about keeping the hips back, right? So that's my quick 2 cents on the early extension. If you can get up and down from any situation, you'll do just fine. I like that, Charles. I'm a single planer. I love that too. I try to keep it very much, up the plane, down the plane. Keep the club face as stable as possible. I don't like the club face rotating much at all. Really key in on this posture, trying to keep this core tight and not get so kind of rounded. Keep that space for the arms to work. Just like that. Ready for the Ryder Cup. I am ready for the Ryder Cup. It should be really good. Adam said, thanks so much. Good tips. Cheers from Ireland. Just talking about my Irish ancestry. Thanks for your support, Adam. If you guys are enjoying the stream, having a good time learning some stuff like Adam, hit that subscribe button for me. Or drop a like, double tap the screen. Really does help us out. So you might not see it, but to me it almost feels like that club is pausing for a full second up at the top. I'm going to watch that swing back because that was hit really good. My cousin won his first tourney last night. They scored 28 through 9 on a par 3 course. Nice. That is really good playing. Let's take a look at that swing. Nice. Nice and connected on the way back. Lovely. Magnus Post said hi. Very cool, guys. All the support recently on the channel. Had a whole bunch of new subscribers. Really grateful for all the support. We're going to keep it going, right? This is about, you know, showing people what process looks like. Hola, Sina, ¿cómo te va? Sebastian's here. My buddy shot a 65 yesterday. 65 is insane. Ooh, is a second camera side angle possible? That's a great question. I'll be honest, this is a pretty, you know, bootstrapped type of operation. Right, I've just got my phone on a monopod back there and my laptop so that I can see the chat. I wouldn't even really know where to begin in terms of, you know, getting a, how would I connect the two camera angles? Would one just kind of be on the side or in the corner? But it is a good idea, right? I would love to continue improving the quality of the streams for you guys. I'd love to find a partner to get a launch monitor and some data going out here. Really got to keep this nice and loose. Sorry for all the sniffling if the audio is bad. I'm still recovering a little bit from whatever illness it was that got me. Let's hit some hybrids. Gotta hit some of these. Make sure we're keeping that club face nice and square. What a nutcase. Maybe just move that one. Hi, I'm Charlie. What state are you in? From the top of your swing, do you feel like you leave the hands and fire hips first, or do you feel your hands drop, then rotate? It's a good question. So, like, what do I actually really feel? To me, it feels like the first thing that happens in transition, right, is this weight shift, right? So the club goes back, and as it's kind of getting close to the top, or, you know, because like I said, I try to feel like it almost pauses at the top for a second. I feel, you know, everything start to unwind in the same order, right? So the hips do go first, right? It's hips, arms come down, club head is still, you know, you're holding this angle in the wrist until about here, right? And then it's release at the ball. But it's the opposite order, right? So in the backswing, you know, your hips coil, then your shoulders, then the club, and then it's just unwind, right? So then hips, shoulders, club, comes through, finish. That was hit pretty nice. All right. So I'm going to do some slow speed swings. We'll do 5 hybrids, like a half swing. Do 5 with the band. That's 5 right there. Let's see where we're at. So again, really working on this posture. Nice. Nice and warm here today. Still not feeling 100%, but hoping to be closer to there by tournament time next week. Right. Now we'll hit 5 with the band. Got some haters here today, yeah. That's okay. Great insight. Cheers. You're welcome, Adam. Do you ever watch Seguto go? Oh, yeah, I have seen his channel. Really good. He talks a lot. He's more like a stack and tilt. You know, you can learn how to hit it super solidly, but maybe not like a very high speed type of swing is what he coaches. But seems very effective from what I've seen, and he seems to know his stuff. So again, guys, we're going to do some slow swings, keeping this connection here with the band. The tourney is Wednesday. Dez said hi. Hey, Dez, who's your favorite golfer? I tell people right now it's Ludwig, Oberg. Really like watching, you know, his swing. Love his game. Plays super fast. Nice. I love Rory's golf swing. Just from a technical perspective, it seems, you know, just so solid. I like Tommy Fleetwood a lot as a character. He's a really, you know, seems like just a very humble, relatable guy who happens to be really good at golf. There aren't too many unlikable, you know, stars or top players on the PGA Tour that I can think of. Right, Patrick Reed's on the Live Tour. Long straight 3 off the fairway feeling. See how this looks. Tiger Woods, yeah, imagine. All right, so there's 5 with the band, working on our connection. I'll do 5 more, kind of 3/4 speed, working on contact, focus on the strike, and then we'll hit the rest at full speed, you know, kind of going through a process. So again, just really slowing down, making sure posture's good. Striking that ball solidly. Nice. So if it helps, you know, if you don't hit, if like a speed or, you know, a percentage doesn't help, you can always just say, okay, well, this club usually goes 200 yards. I'll try to hit it 100 yards. Right? And just make a full swing, but try to hit it, you know, truly like 100 yards. But make the swing you want, you know. Make good contact. Lots of benefits to just slowing things down, not trying to go at full speed. Whiter wood. Crazy seeing all these go dead straight in the same spot. Yeah, that is the idea, right? That's what we're trying to practice here. Right, I'm aimed at that same spot where that fence post is in the back on all these swings. So that's what the, you know, kind of slow motion work looks like. You just do, you know, some half swings, some drills. How much did your driver cost? I got a used QI10 Max head off of eBay. I think it was like 200 bucks. And I used a shaft that I already had. Pretty good contact for our first full swing. All right, so normal, you know, pre-shot routine for me is stand behind the ball. It's gonna be tough without a lot of room, but you know, practice swing, kind of trying to get the feel for whatever shot I'm gonna hit. Step into it, aim the face first, right? Face goes pointed at our target. Then we step into it. Make sure our posture is good. One more look. And swing it. So it's boring, guys, but this is how you get better, right? You just, you know, practice what you're gonna do. So I'm back here. Practice swing. Pick out my line. Right, I also like to pick out an intermediate target, right? So for this line, from where the ball is, you know, it would be something like this little twig there. So I'd aim my club face at that twig and know that if I can hit it over that twig, I can hit it, you know, at my target, right? So we aim the face first, and we stepped in. Face was a bit closed on that one, it felt like. All right, let's move our ball, so pick a different target. Hit it over. All right, so we've got a different stick to hit it over. This lighter colored one here. Aim our club face. Step in. Look at the target. And go. That was hit really nice. So that would be, you know, like a check. The last one might be an X, you know, in terms of success or failure. Try to hit the ball through the hole at the top. Well, I'm not going to do that because I have no idea where it would end up. It looks like your shot shape is a fade. No, I try to hit the ball pretty straight, to be honest. This year I've been hitting a lot of draws. Or, you know, the draw has been the shape that has felt easier. But to be honest, like I was saying earlier, you know, the way that I built my swing is to have very little rotation in the club face. So even when I'm hitting draws or fades, they're only fading, you know, a pretty marginal or, you know, incremental amount. You know, on the solid strikes anyway. All right, so go through our routine, practice swing. Line it up. We've got our intermediate target. We step in. Keep our posture nice and tall. And go. So that's kind of the full, everything from, you know, the technique work, which I think you should do maybe 70–80% of your work on, especially as a beginner. You know, all the way through how do I practice my routine and my execution. You know, if you put say you have a pre-shot routine, if you never practice it away from the golf course, well, you're really limiting its effectiveness, right? You can get good reps in on the driving range, at home. Just go through your routine, right? Pick a target, or, you know, whatever your process is. Laser a flag, evaluate the wind, pick a club, right? You can play holes of golf on the driving range. You know, hit a driver and a 7-iron, hit a 3-wood and a wedge. You know, some more random practice to simulate what you're going to do on the golf course. To try and get a faster shot and have more fun, buy those little sensory things you put close to the net and it will show you your speed. Yeah, so I've been thinking about getting a launch monitor out here for a while. I'd love to find a partner to help, you know, build out the setup out here. You know, having just bought a house, my budget is mostly in the house, so we're making as much progress as we can without it. But ultimately, yeah, I'd love to find you know, whether it's Garmin or Rapsodo, one of these groups, to showcase and show people, you know, on a daily basis what it looks like to implement a product like that, the value you can get from, you know, investing in a launch monitor, even if it's at home with a net. There's certainly enough space out here. I could use a, you know, we've got plenty of space between the net and the hitting area. So ideally, I think the data could be good. All right, so I don't want to just start hitting again. Right, it's easy to kind of get into that mode of like, wait, what am I doing? I'm swinging, and am I actually working on anything? So be aware of that when you're practicing. Vladimir Putin's in here. I bought Rapsodo MLS Pro. Fantastic, works out the back, and play every course. Oh, that's great to hear, Adam. Yeah, I think the MLM2 Pro would be pretty perfect for what we're looking for. Oh, Fuzzy did not like my tattoos. That's hilarious. Do you have a drill to oh, I think you mean shallow the club. Yeah, so the drill I would have you do if you're struggling with shallowing or getting steep in the downswing is the freezer drill. Right? So all you're going to do is take it to the top, wait for a second, let the club pause, and then make your downswing. Right? A lot of, you know, steepening is because we get to the top and we're so excited to swing, we just throw the right hand, we throw the club, and it goes out in this way, and the shoulders are getting steep, and across it, and then the face is out, like all kinds of bad stuff happens. So just let the club hang there for a second, and then swing through. And just understanding that shallowing the club is really just a change of direction, right? It's allowing that club in space to start to, you know, move from the backswing to the downswing. And that change of transition, you know, change of direction needs a second, right? You got to just let the club start to fall in order to keep it on the plane. Another drill, if you still struggle with it, is the Bryson drill that he's demonstrated a whole bunch, right? Where you would take it to the top, drop your hands to your pocket, and then hit. That can be another effective one. But for me, what really helped click was just giving that club time, right? Let it stay up there for a second, because what you'll notice, the guys who get really shallow, it's not because they're manually doing this, right? It's just the patience to let the club start to fall before you swing through. Yeah, Nick was right. The haters have come out in force tonight, but that's okay. I can only help you become a little bit happier if you're willing to do so, right? But being negative on the internet to other people is not going to make you a happier person, which is just, you know, having some empathy, and I mostly just feel sad for those people, right? Like if you think that your day or, you know, whatever's going on in your life that you're unhappy about is going to get better by, you know, coming after me or somebody else you see online, or, you know, even somebody you see in real life. I think it's really sad, right? Because we know it doesn't work, right? It's not an effective way to fix those problems. But it does seem pretty prevalent. So, hey, Jeremy's here. What's up? You should add illegal to your shirt. Well, I don't care that much. MAGA stream. I like the Mevo Plus watch monitor, gives me lots of good data. No, MAGA is like the worst thing that's happened to this country. I mean, it's just boring populism. I don't really want to talk about this stuff, guys, because it's not a good forum for like an actual intellectual debate. And like, I'm not going to change your mind. You're not going to change my mind, right? But I'm just going to, advocate for the things that are important to me. And I think it's important to live in a country where people aren't getting snatched off the street. Without due process. So I'll keep advocating for my stuff. And, no one's forcing anybody to be here. So feel free to keep it moving if that's not your vibe. But, I don't want to have to lie to my kids when they ask me, like, hey, when all that crazy stuff was happening, did you help? Did you say anything? Were you making it worse? So, Captain Alex wants to know, can you swing from halfway back to the top of your backswing? I tried wrist hands, I've tried no hands, I've tried lifting more. I have an inside takeaway. So what I would tell you is, yeah, so a lot of this is even in the first half of your takeaway, right? You got to really work on, here's a great drill you can try. Oh, so I'll finish my thought first. What you got to work on is keeping that club far away from you, right? Your hands will stay in. If you think about everything, every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction, right? Well, if we want the club to stay wide, what's the club attached to? It's attached to our hands. Our hands have to stay in, right? So you can do some drills where you practice pushing this golf ball, put up a second golf ball behind the one you intend to hit, and work on rolling it straight back, right? If your takeaway is inside, it's going to come inside. You can also, if that isn't your favorite, try feeling like you're going to keep this club head on the ground as long as you can. Right? That's going to keep it nice and low to the ground and wide away from you. It gets much harder to get the takeaway inside when you have all this room. Right? Look at all this room I have to move the club around, to swing it. If the club head's in here, there's nowhere for it to go, right? You have to go steep and over the top. Palmer Faldo Tiger. I was about to subscribe until you brought politics into it. Well, sorry to hear that, but if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I'm going to keep talking about stuff that I think is important. And I don't think caring about human beings is a political opinion. Oh, exactly right, Shiv. Well said, Shiv. 3 best golfers of all time. I'd probably go Ben Hogan, Ben Hogan, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods. So just chipping some 8-irons now, trying to feel the center of the face. Working on tempo, keeping everything nice and loose in transition. Frog invasion. Cornfed, I appreciate your opinion, but it's not going to change my mind. I simply do not believe that these are It's not. We're not talking about politics. We're talking about, like, do you think we should have brown people in America? Or, like, should women have rights? Again, it doesn't have to be your thing. You know, and again, this is a very, very small part of what I like to talk about. I love talking about just golf, but, you know, when people are going to come here and say things that are wrong or bigoted, and the good news is, Cornfed, it's my channel, so if you don't like it, make your own channel. It's very simple, guys. This is just, you know, there are very simple solutions to these things. It's your channel, do whatever. Say, yeah, thanks, Jeffrey. I appreciate that. Hey, Golf Masters here. John Daly, he lives in Happy's garage, yeah. How's your setup for short irons or any tips? I can't compress the ball consistently for nothing. So, Jeremy, what I would have you work on is, really just at slow speed, learning, right? Grab a pitching wedge or a 9-iron. Here, I'll grab a pitching wedge. And practice, swinging it back to your waist, through to your waist. Trying to hit the ball maybe 30 yards in the air next time you're on the driving range. And right, just really work on delivering the center of that club face onto the ball, seeing the ball fly pretty straight through the air. Right, and you almost want to feel like you're, if you were hammering a nail into the wall, right, there would be some, kind of, you increase this angle and then hold it into impact, right? So same sort of feel here, where you just feel that club, down onto the ball. Custom says, you're my idol. Well, I appreciate the support. That's very nice of you to say. Let's see if we can't put one through that very small hole top right. Oh, like this one? Imagine. Some of you guys would probably be hitting it through there. Fortunately, I have never missed the net. So, Jeremy, let me know if that drill helps, next time you're out there practicing. If it helps to get onto that ball, you can move, it's set up, move it slightly back of center with a short iron. Like a pitching wedge or a 9-iron, right? Ideally, you'd set up with it kind of right in the center of your stance. But it can help to, get that ball first contact by moving it slightly further back with those short clubs. Shout out to you, Squirrel Sniper. I appreciate you keeping things nice and cool for us. So that's a great drill for really anybody of any skill level. Just work on impact, work on hitting the ball first. In the center of the face, right? You don't need to make big full swings at full speed to really increase your skill level. In fact, I would tell you that it's probably detrimental to your progress. If you're really trying to improve, you're trying to hit better golf shots, shoot lower scores, you'll make a lot more progress more quickly by slowing things down and really just learning, how do I deliver this club face onto that golf ball in a way where I hit the ball first and then the grass, The ball flies pretty straight towards my target, or at least in a manner that I can control. Trump is good at golf. Would you play around with him? I don't know. Yeah, sure, why not? A ball got out of my net yesterday, bounced a few times, hit the gate, and knocked off a plank. Hello from Italy. Hey, Scratch, what's up? How would you set up for chipping? So for chipping, I set up, with my feet quite close together. Play the ball, off this back instep. Very consistently, right? The ball is always going to be there. I'm going to be set up that way for pretty much every chip shot. I stand quite close to the ball, right? Much closer than normal. Choke down about halfway on the grip. This is a pitching wedge, which I normally use a 60 pretty exclusively. And it's just a very simple, almost like an exaggerating putting stroke, right? I don't really think about hinging my wrist very much. I just kind of turn and turn. And especially if you're a beginner, guys, I would tell you, learn how to produce a consistent chip shot, right? Whether it's a high one, a low one, a shot where you can consistently get the ball on the green on your first shot. That's going to really, really help lower your scores, right? Avoiding those double chips. Even if you hit it on the green to 20 feet, 30 feet, you have to be able to learn a chip shot that you can consistently get the ball out of the rough or out of the bunker and onto the green. Our goal is always, always, always have our next shot after a chip be with our putter. We want to be putting. That's incredible, Trucker. I love that. Hey, Sahil's here. What's up, Sahil? Hey, I've just been to Egypt and it was amazing. The food was great and the heat is so good. Egypt is incredible. Egypt was one of my favorite places I've ever been. Just the hospitality that is so ingrained in the, Arab Muslim culture was really, really cool. I met some incredibly generous people. We ended up we went to this island for a dinner, with the tour group we were with. And we're walking around these people's home, right? And it's clearly a very poverty-stricken area, right? These people do not have a lot. There's barely streetlights and running water in this part of where we were. And they were the most generous, welcoming people that I've maybe ever met. All they wanted to do was give us more food. They spent hours and hours as a family, cooking, preparing this feast for us because they knew that, foreigners or tourists were coming. And these people did not have, they weren't eating that way on a daily basis, right? They were going above and beyond to welcome us to their home. And that will stick with me forever, right? Just the joy that those people had, the generosity to welcome complete strangers into their homes and take care of them. Behind you. Hey. I just learned to golf. Fun game. Yeah, welcome in, Polaris. Ride the camels. I didn't see any on camels, but there were certainly a lot of police around. We had one very nice, very persistent police officer at one of the, tourist sites we were at who demanded that my wife and I, he basically toured us around and did a whole photo shoot for us. He's like, no, you must take more photos. And he was, very excited to take our picture. And I'll tell you, when a guy with an AK-47 says, give me your phone, I want to take your picture, guess what you do? You give him your phone, he takes your picture. So that was pretty cool. Seeing the pyramids was incredible. One of my favorite trips we've done. That is good. Exoticism is real. Huh. Their logo is a wolf in sheep's clothing at the moment. Well, can't say no to a guy with a gun, yeah. It was maybe a fraction out of the toe. Trying to make sure that our strike is very consistent in the center of the face as much as possible. There we go. There's our net return in action, right? Just sending that same golf ball right back to me. 2 good ones in a row. The pitching wedge. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. We're still not quite back to 100%. What happens if you hit through that little hole up top? Well, Caleb, it's a great question. We would have to find out. I don't think we're gonna hit it through there, to be honest with you. It's a lovely breeze I see coming through. Yeah, like I said, it's been unusually windy here today, and I have a feeling, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's much lighter over there than it is over there, so I feel like there is a storm of some kind getting ready to roll through here. Crispy. Crispy contact. That's exactly what we're looking for. That's why I've been out here hitting so many balls. Whoa. That was a crazy bug. Yeah, knock on wood, we haven't, we've not had any major issues with the net. The tree might act as a backstop, hopefully. What net is it? Good question, Cabe. This is the Net Return Pro Series. If you want to learn more, hit the link in the description of the live stream. There's a code for 10% off. If you're really serious, you want to invest in your game, get one of these at home. Get 10% off with that code. It's a very, very well-built product. I did a review of it on the channel. If you click on the videos. I think it's time, Squirrel Sniper. I think behind you has had enough time to try to say something a little more positive and failed. So, as a baseball player getting... Oh, I'm not from Cali, Caleb. Nope. Northeast. Do you find hitting off pads is a lot different than playing on a real pitch? It's definitely different, but I think if you understand, you know, the skills that you can work on in this setting and how they're different than what you can practice on the golf course or the driving range, then, you know, as long as your expectations are good, then you can definitely get a lot of benefit, improve your skills. I've been hitting my driver 200 yards today at sea level. That's awesome, Yo-Yo. As a baseball player getting into golf, what differences are there between a golf and baseball swing? So, one key difference, right, is that, especially at least in the iron game, right, we have to interact with the ground, right? A baseball player just hits a ball that's moving through the air. I don't say just, right? Obviously, it's very difficult to hit a, 100-mile-an-hour pitch. But we have to understand, right, we're hitting a round ball with a flat, angled club, and we have to swing it basically into the ground, right? We have to hit the ball first and then the turf. So that's a key difference. As far as generating speed and impact, they're very similar, right? Like a good baseball player, at impact is going to be, in like this, right? Well, it's the same in golf. We just are on an angle and we're hitting it off the ground, so it looks like this, right? But the impact position is very, very similar, right? The idea of using the hips to generate speed, right? Boom. It's been a while, but I have, played a fair amount of baseball in my day. So, I think it's important to understand, like, as a baseball player, what are the things that will come naturally, right? That'll be, hitting the ball, hand-eye coordination, and, generating speed. Like to hit a home run is going to feel the same as hitting a 300-yard drive. But also understand, like, there are some, differences and things that you need to be aware of. How you grip the club will be different. So just some things to be aware of. Milo Lines is very good at transitioning baseball into golf. The Gunsmith chiming in. How often do you play on a course? Not as often as I would like. Recently, this year it's been, gosh, not even once a week. Between travel and, this illness I've been dealing with. So, yeah, I'd love to... I'm going to try, now that I'm back from vacation, to be playing on the course more like 2 or 3 times a week. I do have a good trip out to Sand Valley coming up in October, so I'll be trying to get my game sharp for that. Just knocking around a couple more 5-irons, working on, again, keeping that tempo nice and clean. Transition smooth. And hitting that ball in the center of the face, keeping my posture nice and tall. That was hit good. Golf is easy, says Kobe. Keep lifting my lead foot on the backswing. How do I stop that? Well, you don't necessarily need to, right? There's lots of good players, both, you know, in the modern game and older players who have, you know, let that front foot come up, right? Jack Nicklaus, pretty good, you know, golfer, won 18 majors. He let his front foot come up. If you watch Bryson swing, his foot's coming up off the ground all the time. What's your handicap? Usually around 0? Do you push your lead knee straight out or more towards your trail knee in the backswing? To be honest, I've never really thought about it, what my lead knee does. What does my lead knee do? Let's see. Yeah, so it is going to kind of collapse, you know, in, right, to allow my hips to rotate more, right? If I just kept this leg straight and I tried to turn, I can only go so far, right? But I gotta let it, you know, if you let it come in or even lift the heel, right, that can help you get more of this hip rotation in the backswing, right? So it's gonna come in some, right? And then push back out and extend in the downswing, right? To push that left hip up and out of the way. Once a week, but exams coming up. Oh yeah, that might make it tough. Hey, Landon said hi. Bryson does that. He definitely does. Nate said you're the GOAT. Thanks very much, Nate. Alex is back. Hey, Alex. Who's my favorite player? Ludwig right now. Ludwig Oberg. I think he just plays such a wonderful style of golf. He plays very quickly. Strikes the ball unbelievably well. I really like his golf swing. That was hit pretty well. All right, now I'm gonna I grabbed a 56-degree wedge, and we're gonna just chip some, like, you know, 100-yard swings and really feel confident that we're hitting the center of the club face, making good contact. Nice. I think if I tried really hard, I could hit one high enough to go over the net, but I just don't think it's really going to be a concern. That was okay. I want to keep just a nice stable base. Nice and smooth, right? Especially with a wedge. You're not trying to hit it super hard. This is about accuracy and distance control. What's your handicap? Mine's spinal. Ha, well said, Terry. Yeah, mine's similar. Usually my back. In your release, do you feel like you're holding the face off, and would you engage your left back? No, I feel like the face is kind of fully, like, I just kind of, it swings up, and then there is a bit of a throw at impact, right? Where you're, releasing that energy from here to there. Right? But I don't, if you, start to feel like you're holding off the face or getting disconnected in the follow through, right? That can lead to some, not so good things. There are exceptions, right? Lee Westwood at impact, if you watch his swing, he has a, pretty soft bent left arm. Jordan Spieth, another one. So obviously, impact, the golf ball doesn't know what your swing looks like, but just working on these, if I was going to hit full swings with this club, might go 115 yards. But I really don't like hitting it, more than like 110, 105. Because again, these clubs are about accuracy and distance control. I like hitting these shots, really helps work on tempo, keeping that transition nice and soft. Whew. How does it feel to be out of the Tacomos? Oh, it feels good. I mean, they were fine. They were totally fine. There's just something about these blades. Here, I can hit some 7-irons. We haven't hit that one yet. I actually don't know if I've swung this one at all yet. We got to test our handiwork here. But, like, just looking down at a blade, it's just a much more appealing, to my eye anyway. Elias said, "Love you, bro. You're getting so good." Thanks very much, Elias. Yes, I live in the U.S., the divided states of America. Alex is in Europe. Very cool. Sahil wants to know about a good, cheap beginner set. I'm not super up to date, but I think a lot of those, like at Costco, I had a friend recently buy like a Callaway, full set driver through putter for maybe $500. So that can be an okay place to start. But I would also tell you, if you're a beginner, you don't need to spend a bunch of money on clubs. You can go out and get a used, driver, a couple irons, maybe a wedge and a putter. So 4 or 5 clubs, really be on your way. You can start building your skills, start going to the driving range, playing golf with your friends. All right, let's hit the 7-iron and see if our handiwork holds up. Yeah, held up nice. Oh, it just feels so good, guys. I mean, I know the Tacomos is a forged iron, but there's something about like an old school forged blade. I mean, these are almost 15 years old at this point. This came out in 2011. I'm really excited to get out and try them on the course. As you can see, guys, I've had these for a long time, and hit a lot of golf balls off of them. McKenna, these are the MBs. Oh, South Coast. Callaway X Series from Costco. There you go, Cody. Cody knows what I'm talking about. Oh, this would be a better angle to see. Here. Like that. I mean, it's just such a clean profile. The top line's, as thin as can be. So I'm excited to be back in a blade. McKenna has the MCs. Yeah, those are great too. Replicated the P790s. Can get them cheap. Well, that's good to know. I know the Kirkland, the K-Sig golf balls are supposed to be decent. There's something too about that feedback, like even in a Ford CB iron, you're not going to get quite the same degree of you know, the golf ball talking to you through the club head, right, in terms of how you struck it, where you struck it on the face. I think that is the best feedback you can really get, right? Learn what the club head's telling you. What does it feel like to hit it on the heel or on the toe, or hit it thin or hit it fat? That was so good. Just feels so like smushy and pure. It's really just the best way I could say it. I'm left-handed. I struggle with all my irons. I got my 3-wood driver hybrid down pat and my wedges. Well, I think that means you just got to practice your irons more. That's pretty normal. Have a good stream. Thanks, Sahil. I appreciate you being here. Can't beat a 30. Tell me more. We can't beat a 30. Oh, 30-yard shank to the right. Yes, sir. That's what we like to feel. That's what we like to see. If you guys are enjoying hanging out on the stream and you haven't already hit that subscribe button, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. It really does help us out. I promise that the volume of, you know, haters and negativity is not usually this high. Been working on, you know, Paul had me working on keeping this right elbow a little bit more tucked in the backswing. Big Kirk wants to know what irons these are. These are the TaylorMade MB irons from 2011. Just putting these back in the bag after a couple months on the bench. Got them reshafted up last night. But I've had these for a long time. Feels good to have gotten my swing to a point where it just feels, you know, like 9 out of 10 times, I don't have to pay, you know, I need to be paying attention to it, but like I'm expecting to make really, really solid center of the face contact. And it just really makes lots of things easier. Getting steamy out here, guys. It's important to stay hydrated when you're out there working on the swing. Big difference with the new old irons. Yeah, I think so too, Paul. I think they really makes a big difference. Big Kirk said solid swing. Clemson said you're doing great. Thanks very much, Clemson. How long do you stream for? I usually stream for a couple hours. You know, I like to have my sessions be, you know, my practice at least an hour. I feel like I'm doing something. But it depends what it is, right? We'll do putting inside sometimes. You know, hit out here, do drills. Sometimes I'll bring you guys with me to the driving range or to the short game practice area. So it just depends on, you know, what we're working on to try and improve the game on any given day. You know, just trying to be the best I can be. They're probably heavier than the Tacomas. Could be. Don't turn your back to me. That's funny. take the club and put it where the sun doesn't shine. Well, that would probably negatively impact its long-term performance. Yeah, there's just something about it. Maybe it's, you know, maybe the Tacomas aren't the best. Maybe these blades are just really good. Maybe it's both. Big Kirk, we're up in the northeast. Keep that ball position nice and center. Really working on keeping this posture a little bit more straight, not so, right, I tend to get like this a little bit, and that hunch in my posture. Yeah, he's staring at the ball, keeps your head in the box without even trying, stops you thinking about your swing. Take 5 minutes on the naughty step. What do you mean? What's the naughty step? I learned the hard way not to keep my Mac near to golf yard. That's funny. Haven't seen you hit a bad shot yet, and I've watched a lot of your videos. I appreciate that, Sycamore. Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited about getting these clubs back in the bag. I think it might be just the missing piece to really just start posting some insanely low scores with regularity, which would be nice, but we just got to get out on the golf course more. That's what I'm really struggling with. I need this illness, this flu, whatever it is, to be on its way. I got to just get back to feeling 100%. I mean, as you can see, guys, I'm very comfortable with these irons. I've spent a lot of time hitting them over the years. John said hi. Hey, John. Tom, usually around 0. Been a little bit higher this year. We really got to we got to get a launch monitor out here, guys. Somebody get on the horn with Rapsodo and just say, hey, you're missing a golden opportunity to sponsor John's channel. Think about all the people, all the tens of thousands of views we get on every stream that could enjoy seeing your product in action. But what do I know? I just swing the stick into the ground. That little caddy drag move to start the swing is such a game changer for me. To just be forced not to pick the club up, the club head, right, and just let it swing around my body. Total game changer, guys. And there's just something, I mean, look at this. Like, this is what we want to see behind the ball. Right? You look down and you see this very, very clean top line. Super, very small profile. Whew. It takes at least 1,000 similar shots to make an impression in a blade. I've never heard that. I didn't know like 1,000 was actually the number. I mean, I might like practicing golf more than playing golf, which is potentially a silly opinion to have. But I just, that flow state, that zen, you know, I just really feel quite calm and relaxed when, you know, I'm on the range or hitting balls like this. It's a really good tool to, you know, stay calm. You deserve it. Thanks very much. Some irons are now 3 generations old. I know, these are from 2011, guys, so, you know, there's not a whole bunch of technology, though, that has changed in blades. I like that visual Paul mentioned about, you know, keeping your head in the box, right? And just really forcing your eye to stay on that golf ball. Really, really pleased with that. Ooh. Hey, Liam's here. Shout out to you, Liam. Liam says, love the shirt. Thanks very much, my dude. Can't wait till you shock yourself on the course. It's coming. Yeah, I think so too, Paul. I mean, it feels very close to being really good. I'm gonna try to get out and play tomorrow. At least play 9 holes, and then I'm gonna try to get a practice round in before the tournament round, you know, Monday or Tuesday. And then we'll have that 18-hole round on Wednesday. So this week will be really good for getting some golf in. Oh, and then I'm playing in like just a friendly, you know, Friends Ryder Cup type of thing next weekend. So there will be ample golf, on-course golf coming. So we'll have a chance to really see where the game is at and maybe put up some good scores. Feels very simple right now, guys. We put in a ton of work. Just working on keeping our eye on the ball. Hitting the center of the club face. Right now, it just is kind of on autopilot. So we're going to roll with that as long as we can. What you swing 7? Oh, this is a 9. We've got a 9 iron at the moment right now. Hey, Sonny's here. Parker's here. Would love you to take us if possible. I don't know if we'll be able to do that. Do you feel your chest or body move through ball at delivery, or is it more your arms releasing? Your swing look more like Ben Hogan's with the elbow. Yes, I think that is true. Definitely, you know, because my plane tends to be a little bit high, right? Not quite as flat. We're going to keep working on that for sure, Paul. Do I feel my chest? So I like to feel like everything, you know, my chest is kind of covering and continuing to rotate through impact, right? If you stop rotating and you just throw your arms, you know, you're not going to really be able to deliver the club as solidly as you want. And like you guys have seen me show before, this band drill where you tuck this under your arms and then swing, right? This can really help you feel that connection, right? And how much the chest has to keep moving to keep this connected all the way through. Need the consistency, definitely. That's the name of the game, right? I mean, anybody with 100 balls is going to hit some good golf shots. But, you know, posting good scores is about doing it with consistency. Let's see how that looked on camera. That might be the best swing I've ever felt myself make. Wow. I could just watch it over and over again. Yeah, I think that might be the best swing I've ever made in my life. Jesus is here. What's up, Jesus? Jace is here. Make sure your right knee does not come out before your left knee. That causes bad inconsistency. Definitely could. Definitely could. All right, guys, we're going to hit a few more here. Coming up on the 2-hour mark. We've done a whole bunch of really good work trying to get our swing and body back in shape and ready to play some tournament golf next week. Keeping our eye on the ball. New irons in the bag. Caddy dragging the handle. Just so much good stuff happening right now. Also, guys, we're going to start doing dual live streams. I think I'm going to try to figure out how to do YouTube and Instagram at the same time, so you can watch the live streams in either location, one could say. Thank you guys so much for all the likes on the stream, all the support on the channel recently. You know, people commenting and liking the videos. Say hi to Mary, she's 3 years old. Hey, Mary. I've been looking at getting a launch monitor, but can't spend $2 grand on it. I'm with you, Bean. Tommy said hi, too. Hey, Tommy. I'm with you. That's why I'm trying to find, you know, a partner, like a Rapsodo or a Garmin, somebody that has one of those mobile launch monitor products that would work well out here in a hitting net. But I do think it could be really cool to, you know, be able to show you guys data and especially, you know, when we're doing speed training to see how much progress we're making. Hear that thunder, guys? It's definitely getting closer. Definitely getting closer. So we'll probably hit a few more shots here and then head inside to do some putting work. Let me know if you guys want to see us, you know, you want to bring the stream inside. We can keep doing some putting in a little bit. BNT says, I love golf. Jace says, I don't post, I just play tournaments. Love that. Rock on, Tommy. Exactly. Hey, Nick has a Rapsodo and it works amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, it does feel like it would be a natural fit to say, wow, you know, if you had an at-home setup that was built out like this, you know, here's how a mobile launch monitor could enhance that setup. Oh, look at this guy stretching. You big stretcher. Oh, got two guys. Look at you. Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi. We being good? We being good? You gonna help practice? You gonna help us practice? What are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? You gonna help us practice? You being a good girl? You guys are very silly. Woo. Jace wants to know, how many tattoos do I have? I honestly don't know the answer to that. 2 arms, most of 2 legs, my chest, my back, you know, part of my back anyway. I think that's it. So, you know, like most of my body, but... Gavin says, hey John, I've been struggling with my mental health lately. At this point, I just want to quit everything. Do you have any motivation for me? Well, first of all, Gavin, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, I know what it's like to go through a tough time or struggle with your mental health. I've been there myself. I think a lot of us have and can understand what that's like. You know, the best motivation I would have for you is that, you know, the good news is that all you have to do is one day at a time, right? You can't deal with yesterday, it's already happened, and you can't deal with tomorrow. So I find that really motivating to be like, I just have to do what I can today And that might be, you know, make my bed or get up and brush my teeth, right? Sometimes it's little things like that to say, okay, I put my mind to something and I was able to accomplish it. You know, you don't have to take huge steps all at once. I know that can be really overwhelming, especially when you're not, you know, feeling your best. So, you know, I think really just, you know, try to trust yourself and take it one day at a time. And just remember that there's people who care about you and are proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for, you know, being vulnerable and putting a comment like that in the chat, right? You know, it's not easy to speak up and say, like, hey, I'm not having a good time. You know, nobody wants to feel that way, but we all have. So I think that, you know, talking about it openly is very important. Gavin, just remember, you know, there are resources and that it's okay to ask for help, right? Whether that's, you know, with your doctor or going to therapy or just, you know, finding a friend to talk to. You know, you can talk to me. You can DM me. I don't think YouTube has DMs, but, you know, on Instagram. You know, I'm happy to be a resource if I can. So just remember that, you know, it's not, you're not a weirdo for feeling this way. This is a thing that many, many, many people experience, and that it will get better, right? That whatever you're feeling in this moment is temporary. You know, I know that because I look back and I say, wow, there were times when I was in really bad shape, right? I was really depressed or I was really anxious, you know, or even to the point of being suicidal. And I'm not anymore, right? And there, not to say, like, I know also that in the future, there will be times when I'm depressed again or really anxious again. But having gone through that and knowing what it's like and knowing that, you know, if I just put one foot in front of the other and I take it one day at a time, eventually I won't feel that way. I think that really helps too. So hopefully that helps, Gavin. I appreciate you, you know, feeling so, you know, comfortable and vulnerable to say that. And, you know, I don't know if any of what I said helps or resonates, but, you know, I know that you can take it. You can handle it. You're going to be just fine. You know, just put one foot in front of the other. Hey, Christy's here. I wonder if a ball has ever escaped through that top corner gap. Yeah, you're not the only one to wonder that. We get that comment pretty regularly. You know what we should do, Squirrel Sniper? We should put together, I should do like an FAQ video of, like, you know, the 5 most commonly asked questions on the stream. Do you ever hit it over the net? How do I fix my slice? Are you Sugar Sean O'Malley or Tommy Fleetwood? That's 3 right there. What's your clubs? These are the TaylorMade 2011 MB irons. I've had these for quite a while, putting them back in the bag. Oops, that one doesn't go there. 5 through 9 iron, and then I've got my Vokey wedges 46, 52, 56, 60. Driver 5 wood, 7 wood hybrid is my setup at the moment. Oh, you guys can't even see me. I'm way over here. That's crazy. And then this, guys, the soup ladle is what my friends have been calling it. Oh, what's your clubs and how many tats? Sorry, yeah, you're answering. You're saying the questions that we get most often. Yeah. This guy, the soup ladle. I'll tell you what, it might not be the easiest thing to look down at behind the ball, but once you see the ball collecting the 5, I know, I caught up with you, sorry. You know, once you see the ball go in the hole with regularity, it gets really easy to look at this one. If you guys are enjoying the stream, you want to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, or even drop a super chat. That would be incredible. Let's hit some little pitches. I definitely could get it over the net with like a flop shot, but we're not going to do that. Just hit some little like 40, 50 yard ones to finish. So for me, 50 yards is like waist to waist with a 60. Something like that. And I found that I can really consistently get the ball to travel about 50 yards in the air with this club and that length of swing. So as you can imagine, you know, it's 75 yards is somewhere up in here. And then if I was really going to try to hit this club hard, which I would never do, maybe it would go about 90 or 100 yards. You know, I could imagine maybe like to a downwind front pin late in a round where I needed to make a birdie and I had to really throw it up in the air and try to get it to stop as fast as I possibly could. Maybe I would hit a full 60, but really not very often. Till you turn 60 and then you can feel bad just getting out of bed. That's funny. For a lob shot, you just open up the face even more. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Somebody was asking, I posted a video of a really good flop shot that I hit in a round recently, and somebody was asking for the tutorial, so we'll have to post a video on that, right, for the flop shot where you just really, you know, the ball's kind of middle of the stance or a little forward, lower the handle some, open that face a whole bunch, and then you're just going to take a big backswing. Try to get that ball coming out really soft. I'm not going to do it here because I'll hit it up into the, maybe over the net. But that is the tutorial, right? Open stance, ball forward, open face. Takeaways kind of long and outside. Kind of cutting across it, right? We want not a lot of ball speed, but a lot of height. All right, guys, really good stream. We just hit to 2-hour mark. Doing some tournament prep for next week, so before this storm gets any closer to me, I can hear that thunder getting closer and closer. We're gonna pack up, we're gonna head inside, go do some putting work, and we'll see about setting up the stream in there potentially. Just keep documenting this journey. Thank you guys so much for all the support recently. It means a lot to me. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Drop a like on the stream. And like I said, I really appreciate all the support. So we'll do this again soon, hopefully tomorrow. We'll see you next time.